Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kiara and this is Budget and Growth. In this channel we talk all things cash stuff and budgeting and debt crushing. And in today's video I'm going to be continuing with my ODBJ series. This is part 4 and these are my struggles. Let's go. Hi everybody, I'm Kiara and I hope that you're having a good start to your week. If this is the first time that you are finding my channel, know that I am currently on vacation and that's why my setup is a little bit funky this week. This is literally my bed and I just have a notepad here because I am away from home and also it's the middle of the night and everybody else is sleeping, so I'm gonna be very quiet on this video. Nevertheless, I hope that you stick around to see some of the struggles that we go through while we learn how to budget. Learning how to budget is definitely a big curve, especially if you don't have good money habits, right? If you've always been on the struggle bus or always been just swiping and not really caring or avoiding caring about your spending habits, then budgeting, it's gonna be a little bit of a struggle at first. But don't be discouraged because everything takes a little time to adapt to, and you know, nothing that is really good in life is that easy. So yeah, just stick with it. So I've talked about this in a previous video. I've always had the concept of budgeting in my mind growing up and as a young adult, but I always correlated budgeting with being broke, and that was because my parents didn't really have a good money habits. So when we had money, we were just spending, you know, we were going out. Granted, my parents have been and are very generous people, so they will help out a lot of people with money, and then we were just living comfortably. And then whenever the money was not so good, suddenly we had to be on a budget. So obviously as a child you relate and you think that budgeting is something negative when in reality it's not. So I think that my number one struggle with my budgeting journey has been underestimating expenses, and I guess underestimating categories. So I feel like when we are in debt and learning how to budget, sometimes we try to lie to ourselves basically, and try to come up with like excuses in our brain for ourselves that in reality nobody cares, and like you already know that that's not happening. And maybe sometimes we really are kind of oblivious to our own spending, and that's something that I had to learn. I had to learn more about myself while budgeting in order to be a better budgeter, because I tried to go cold turkey on like anything fun, you know, like I was like, oh, I'm just gonna give myself $25 for spend and fun money for this month, and I'm gonna stick to my budget. And of course, every time I did that, I failed. Eventually, I had to accept that I like to go and get a fancy coffee sometimes and go and have a burger or get like wine and cheese sometimes with my friends, and that is okay. That is okay. I don't do anything super crazy or fancy. I don't go to like Michelin star restaurants or any of the sort. Not that I don't want to, I want to, but it's not on my budget. You know, it's not on my budget. But I have figured out places I can afford, places that I enjoy, and experiences that I want to do. And I budget for them and I included them on my month to month, and it's been better. It's been easier to stick to my budget, and it's helped me actually have a life and not have like guilt after going out and just enjoying myself. So that is a part that I think I've I'm better at now, but from time to time I still kind of like feel guilty about budgeting money for fun things, or like, I don't know, personal care, like, buying shampoo, like a good shampoo, or buying nice makeup, things of the sort. So what was happening is I was like lowballing my budget in those categories, and then I was always over budget every month. I was going on average. And what's the point of having a budget if every month you go over it by at like $50 or $100? Sorry, there's a plane. So yeah, definitely underestimating my budget, my spending on certain categories. It's been a struggle. So my advice on that is to, again, just be honest with yourself and really see where you can lower. If you think that something is too high, you can lower it, but lower it realistically and grow it realistically too, because you don't also want to go to the other extreme where you put a lot of money here and then suddenly you're like spending just because it's in your budget, just like find the happy medium. So that's the struggle number one. Struggle number two has been, I think, I think laziness. And I do consider myself to be a hyperactive person. I'm always trying to do something. I'm always trying to work and create things for myself, like activities that I can be entertained on, or I don't know, side hustles and things of the sort. Oh my God, my nail. But sometimes I like, my work week is very intense. It's like 4 days of working like 12 hours straight, and then I have 3 or 4 days off. So yeah, so sometimes I'm just very tired, and what happens is like I end up not meal prepping and not leaving early enough to go to do certain activities. So then I end up taking a cab, or I end up doing takeout instead of just buying stuff. So that's something that I need to get better at, because it's just kind of silly that I am using, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of dumb that I spend my money, my spend fun money, because I forget that I have to cook and then I had to order food to eat, and where I could just spend half the money in groceries and eat something probably better. So that's just like time management. It's not really because I like spending money on takeout. I'm not big on takeout. For me, it's like either I'm gonna cook at home and eat something nice and cheap at home, or I'm gonna go all out and have a nice meal where I don't have to clean any dishes. I don't have to like throw the leftovers out or anything. I don't want to do any of the work. If I'm gonna spend money, I'm not gonna do anything. So I really think that takeout is kind of dumb, because there's still a level of cleaning around afterwards. So yeah, anyway. But yeah, time management has affected my budgeting a little bit, but I'm getting better at it. So if you have that issue, don't be discouraged. Just be a little more efficient and realistic with your time frames and stuff. So those two, I think, are kind of over the surface struggles that I have. They're real, but they're not deep. But I do have two that are definitely more on a personal level. I think my third struggle is my income. I have a good income, but I only have one stream of income. Whenever I can, I try to get another source of income, but they're only side hustles. I don't have the time really to have a second job. Most of the time when I'm off, I'm just very tired, and I only have time to like do things that you need to do as an adult, like clean your apartment, cook, and do a couple of activities. Now that I'm doing these videos, I also have to like do the videos and edit and all that. So I feel like my life is pretty busy. So it's really hard to find an extra job. and do all those things. And then I have such a good income on my one job that sometimes I think that, like, I don't know, I guess I feel a little guilty that I maybe don't just like work 8 days a week, but I've done that before, and I know that that is no good for me. Like, mentally is terrible, physically is terrible as well. So I just wish there was a way where I can have another source of income so I can just pay my debt faster, and then I can grow my day-to-day budgets so I can have a more comfortable life. So yeah, that's definitely one that it's always in the back of my head. And my last struggle, and this is definitely a lot more personal, is my anxiety. I suffer from a great deal of anxiety, and that anxiety really comes from many sources, but one of the sources I know it's finances, and the responsibility I have to my parents and to myself. And sometimes it can be a lot. And sometimes I just feel very frustrated with the fact that I cannot save fast enough for medical stuff and to pay off debt. And I kind of want to throw my budget away and just gonna go again like extreme and like put $100 for groceries and like $50 for MTA and just walk everywhere to save some money and not go out and not do anything fun. And like my mind goes through this like struggle, this kind of fight where I feel like I should just like throw everything away and just pay off everything and then save money so I can take care of my parents and take care of myself. And that, yeah, when I have those days, it's pretty heavy, pretty intense. But I try to remind myself that for the past like 4 months that I've been really intentional with my budget, my life has really grown, has really like there's been a maturity that came from that. So I have to remind myself that it's been positive and I just need to trust the process, but it's hard. I think the hardest part is the medical part. I have some I have some risks that I need to be really careful with, and I just feel like sometimes I kind of put that on the side because first of all, it's scary to think about, and then with the cost of medical expenses in America, it can really throw you off financially. So I try to not think about those. But when I do think about those, it really conflicts with my day-to-day budget because I just feel like suddenly everything is like a mush, and suddenly like nothing makes sense, and I have to like scratch all of that and just like pay off that and put money away for medical stuff and for like emergency funds and stuff, which yes is important and I need it, and I am putting some toward that, but that doesn't mean that I just have to throw away my budget, just because of that. There is a way to balance out your finances, and yeah, that sometimes can be a little bit stressful when you feel like you don't make enough to hit your goals fast enough. But I have to be really grateful with budgeting because it's really changing my life. It's really doing positive things for not only for me but for my family too, because I'm just a more relaxed person and more calm and a lot more like confidence, I have to say. Yeah, there is a sense of confidence that comes from budgeting and sticking to it, and just feeling like you're in control of your finances. That's just, it's been awesome. So yeah, so I think those are my 4 big struggles. But I do feel like I'm working on them. I actively put the effort to do better in all of those areas. So I think the message that I will hope that you take from here is that you deserve to have good things in your life, and you deserve to have fun things in your life, and you deserve to feel empowered with your finances and your life in general. So just do what works best for you, and don't be so hard on yourself if you make a mistake, or if you overestimate a budget or underestimate a budget, because it is a learning curve. And give yourself a few months to really tweak and perfect what your life looks like. And also remember that every month is different. There are some months that are just going to be high spend month, so you cannot just expect that one budget is going to be the same throughout the whole year. I guess that's like a bonus struggle that I have. I no longer have, I think, but I did had at the beginning, where I was just like, okay, well, last month I was okay with spending, I don't know, 500, and this month I went like 800. But yeah, some months are more expensive than others, because maybe you have a lot of birthdays one month, or it's your birthday, or it's Christmas or Hanukkah, or whatever, holiday that you celebrate. So yeah, just understand that it's a fluctuating thing, and that's fine. Just find your flow and just ride that wave. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this was helpful. Please go check out All Things Kimberly. She is next in line for the ODBJ series, and I've been really enjoying her videos. She's really trying to pass along this financial wisdom to her, I guess, children, but mainly her grandchildren, and I think that's very sweet. So go check out her channel. Also, budgeting just because with Chris. She's amazing. She's been shouting me out every week. She's basically the first person on the group, so go check her out, and I will be listing everybody else that is on this series on the description box down below. Again, thank you so much for your time, and thank you again to Budgeting April for creating this series. I think it's awesome, and you're awesome, and I will see you all on the next one. Bye bye.